right, so let's see. I think that brings us to the headlines, and we've got several. One of them I wanted to follow up on was the electric car. I mentioned that last week, and I wanted to make sure not to forget to follow up on it. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this on the yellow camera. And this comes from the Business Record. Let's see. Iowa assembled electric cars surging towards production. So let me go ahead and do that article. That's the challenge for the family of vehicles imported by New York-based Electric Mobile Cars Incorporated. Ames-based Envision Motor Company is the sole distributor of the electric vehicles and has worked with Gabus and EMC to manufacture a chassis and parts to create 3 electric vehicles: a station wagon, a cargo van, and a pickup truck. The vehicles will be assembled by Webster City-based American Motor Systems. And so there was an article in the Des Moines Register last October that thoroughly examined in great detail this situation where electric cars would be assembled here in Iowa with Romanian designer Catalin Tutunaro, and then some reservations that the Register expressed about his background. It looks like the project did go forward, and it's nearing the end of production. And so the Des Moines Business Record caught up and did like the follow-up story on that. Envision President Thomas Gleisner they don't seem worried about delays. Gleisner estimated select dealerships will have a model version of the cars within 30 days, and Gabus estimated the first car could be sold within 90 days. And so it continues on the next page. A big part of the delay has been the supply chain management. The Renault-made Dacia Logan chassis are being imported from Romania, and the electric motors and assembly parts are being manufactured separately in the United States. And delay in supply was part of the problem that developed in terms of legal dispute surrounding Catalin Tutunaro. Beyond that, challenges come with manufacturing 3 types of vehicles instead of just one, which was a sacrifice the distributors were willing to make. So far, between 300 and 400 dealers have expressed interest in selling the electric cars, Gleisner said. That list will be whittled down to a network of about 150 just to start. After that, the goal is to eventually manufacture up to 2,500 vehicles per month in Iowa and cap off production at 60,000 cars per year after opening another assembly facility in Iowa, hopefully, although the article doesn't specify. So the wagon is priced at $37,300, the van is $32,300, and the truck is $33,300. The electric vehicles, he emphasized, and this is Gabus, are good for people who drive a lot on a daily basis, as the batteries are expected to get up to 200 miles per charge. Manufacturers say the battery is good for at least 1,000 charges, and it will be warranted for 100,000 miles. And so there's a little subset here at the bottom that I'll read off, and it says, engineer with troubled past doesn't worry Gabus. And so Gabus has expressed a lot of faith in Catalin Tutunaro. The article says, Catalin Tutunaro, one of the designers helping Gabus and Thomas Gleisner with the electric vehicles, served an 18-month federal prison sentence in 2000 for bank fraud and was implicated in a number of other civil lawsuits from 1991 to 2004, though he's never charged in any of them. The past issues put Electric Motor Cars of Des Moines and Envision Motor Company in a negative spotlight when the Des Moines Register published the information in October. So the only problem that Gabus has, according to this article, is that Tutunaro is a perfectionist, being an engineer. So that's pretty interesting take, and I I feel that it's very interesting that Gabus is expressing that confidence. Hopefully, that's due to his willingness to express confidence in his own judgment in choosing Catalan Tuchinaro, but then also in the economic possibilities here in Iowa. The fact that they're contemplating another assembly facility is pretty interesting. And then again, hopefully either the Des Moines Register or the Business Record or I will follow up and see what's going on with that. The Des Moines Register from January 16th, that was last Sunday's paper, had a full complement of interesting articles about what's going on here in Des Moines. And I'm just going to read all the headlines in date order because they're kind of like all across the board. But let's start with something that's related to jobs, which is what we cover here on Blue.Green.Fusion. If you look at the board, this headline, it says, increase in temp workers, encouraging, concerning. And so, of course, jobs are always number one on people's minds here in the Des Moines area. According to the article, the job category, temps, is the fastest growing in Iowa's recovery, and that includes workers like lawyers and accountants, as well as consultants and temporary service employees. Growth in temp jobs is a good sign the state's economic recovery is taking hold, say experts, but it also raises concern that temp employment could have a more permanent place in tomorrow's workforce. And so this article goes on to outline certain factors to consider in temp employment, both as an employee or the temp or the person who's doing the employing. First is cost of benefits, the fact that pay can be less, the fact that pay can be more, and then also it's a method of getting one's foot in the door because the employer has a way of getting to know you that way. Let's see, I think that's it on that issue, so we'll stop that there. The next article from the same paper is the train to Iowa City, and I'll put that headline on the board for you to see. Train to Iowa City holds key to Iowa's future. This is a very interesting article to read because passenger rail has been part of the social commentary or public commentary here in the city of Des Moines, the state of Iowa, specifically because of money being allocated from the federal government with the caveat that we also have to put up an investment too, a small part of the investment. Let's see. One of the provisions in the Republican-backed Taxpayers First Act is to kill the Iowa City Rail project by pulling the plug on $8.5 million in previously approved funding. The rail project is part of a larger effort by Republicans to save the state nearly $500 million over 3 years. The bill made it out of committee last week with the rail cut intact. The proposal will be the subject of a public hearing at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday. That was last Tuesday. And so I don't know the results of that, but hopefully we can continue to watch the news and see where it goes. According to David Albert, he says, first, if you eliminate the $8.5 million, Iowa will also have to forfeit. I'm going to flip this over so I can read it better. $81.4 million in a federal grant to prepare the route on existing track between Iowa City and the Quad Cities. Second, and most important, killing the project now will foreclose the possibility of passenger rail service to a generation or more of Iowans at a time when oil prices, social patterns, and commercial development all point towards a rebirth of regional passenger service. Let's see. There's an architect from New York who weighed in. He says that the preferences of the generation that's growing up with iPads, iPhones, and MP3 players will be significantly different from their parents. Mass transportation has an appeal to these young multitaskers, many of whom would rather watch videos, text friends, and listen to music rather than spend time driving.